Breaking news from WRAL. Coverage you can count on.
Today's a WRAL Weather Alert Day. We have more heavy rain and flooding potential this evening and overnight. I'll walk you through the potential.
Also breaking news out of Rollsville. Schools on lockdown. Reports of shots fired, a chase, and one person in custody. We're live in Rollsville with what we know about this breaking news story.
Suspect captured. More breaking news in Granville County, where a man is in custody for double murder. A live report is minutes away.
And it's the first day in court for the man behind a shooting of a lawmaker and her husband, shot and killed, as well as another attack. Very busy this noon hour on our Monday. Today is a WRAL Weather Alert Day as well. Storms with heavy rain developed this evening. Flooding is possible. Good afternoon to you. I'm Jeff Hogan.
And I'm Renee Chu. Thanks for joining us. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner is in the WRAL Severe Weather Center with a look at how much more rain we could see through tonight.
We had some pockets over here, Wilson, Edgecombe, and Nash County, where we saw as much as 3 to almost 6 inches of rain, at least on radar. A lot of rain last night as well, but that's where we ended up with the flooding. Today, we have a WRAL Weather Alert Day in effect. It lasts all the way until 2 a.m. It's likely to be fairly quiet. There's nothing showing up on radar for us, of course, right now. But once we get into the evening, say 6, 7 o'clock, we'll start to see the potential for some rain to develop. And especially in places that saw some heavy rain overnight last night, more flooding is possible with a chance of road closures. Again, we're going to get this cranked up again right around the evening. Notice by the time we get to 6 or 7 o'clock, we're at 50% and then a little bit higher as we get closer to, say, 10 and 11, and then it begins to taper off after midnight or so. This is a look at Pinehurst right now. It is warm and sticky out there, 85 degrees already, and we'll see a high around 90. Not only will we walk through the timeline for rain on Futurecast, we'll talk about where we're headed with some high heat indices later in the week.
Elizabeth, thanks. You can track severe weather anytime with our new WRAL News app. Make sure you download the WRAL News app and turn on alerts to get notified about severe weather in your location. The WRAL Weather app is available for Apple and Android devices.
Now back to that breaking news out of Rollsville. 2 schools are on a code yellow lockdown and 3 businesses are blocked off by police tape. This is all unfolding at Rogers Road and South Main Street. And that is where we find WRAL's Destiny Patterson. Destiny, I know you just got there on the scene. What can you tell us so far?
Well, I mean, obviously, if you take a look, this is still a very active scene. Just in the last few minutes, we've learned that a person is in custody. That's according to Rollsville Police. You can see there are several agencies out here on the scene. This is Main Street in Rollsville. I've seen Wake Forest police officers. We have a Wake County Sheriff's Office on scene. Raleigh Police is out here as well. Over radio traffic, we were hearing that this all stemmed from some sort of pursuit with a driver, and then that driver then fired shots toward officers. We know at least one SUV was hit with bullet holes. We have video of that where we saw that from the view of Sky 5. I want you to take a listen as some of this was unfolding over that radio traffic.
They're fighting with them right now. They got them on the ground.
I copy. Deployed. Copy, Taser.
Rollsville PD's in a 1080 taking shots from a suspect.
As you can see here live on Main Street, there are several businesses that are blocked.
Juneteenth is a federal holiday celebrated June 19th, Thursday. It marks the end of slavery in the United States. As the public continues to learn about the historical significance of this day, the City of Raleigh Museum has partnered with Capital City Lawyers Association to offer a workshop that explores the legal implications of emancipation. And joining us today, attorney Tori Dixon, Vice Chair of the City of Raleigh Human Relations Commission, and Grady Bussey here as well, good friend of the program, Vice Chair of the Friends of the City of Raleigh Museum. Good afternoon to both of you.
Good afternoon.
Thank you so much for joining us here. Grady, tell us, how did this event come about?
Yeah, so the City of Raleigh Museum has always been focused on making sure that we tell stories and history that is prevalent to the City of Raleigh itself. And so as we are getting to the point where we are studying, getting a better understanding of the Juneteenth holiday, what we wanted to do is explore the legality aspect of emancipation. What we recognize is that, we hear the words freedom, but we don't really understand the trueness when it comes to the legality aspect. So when we focus on the thought pattern of when the soldiers came to a plantation in Galveston, Texas, and they said you're free, what does that really mean? And so we had partnered with our local lawyers association to be able to give them the deep dive opportunity to explain all the aspects that go along with it.
And Tori, perfect segue. So what does it mean, the Emancipation Proclamation, from a legal perspective back in 1863?
Yeah, thank you for the question. Yeah, the Emancipation Proclamation was a significant legal milestone. But to be clear, it did not end slavery throughout the entire country. It only applied to those Confederate states, and it did not apply to the slave states that were not a part of the Confederacy or to parts of the Confederacy that were under Union control. As an African American that was born in the South, and as a history major and as a former civil rights attorney, I'm going to talk about that history in the 19th century, how that bled over into the 20th century, and how that led to the civil rights movement, and then what it means for us in the 21st century.
Yeah, and what's interesting is a lot of folks don't know a lot about this because news travels slow in 1863, right? What can the public expect to learn when they come to this event?
So again, it's the deep dive aspect. We have created new ways to celebrate the opportunity of freedom, but we wanted to make sure we get some true legal heavy hitters in the room and be able to explain the true ambiance on what it really truly looked like. And so the City of Raleigh Museum is excited to make sure that we tell a good story, a real story, so we can understand the lenses of those that had got an opportunity to be free, that day in Texas in 1863.
Big time topic here. Where and when, real quick?
Absolutely. So you're going to want to go to RaleighMuseum.org, and you're going to want to search events. You'll have all the information about when and where. It's going to be this Thursday afternoon, and you really want to come out and take a look at this.
Powerful, enlightening. We appreciate both of you.
Thank
Can't wait for it. I know it'll be a great event. We appreciate you both joining us today. Juneteenth events. Visit WRAL.com. Search Juneteenth. You get more information about this as well, Renee.
At least 5 people are dead after significant flooding in northern West Virginia over the weekend. Search and rescue operations resumed for 4 others who are missing. About 3 inches of rain fell in 1 hour's time in parts of Fairmont. This is the moment rising water flooded an apartment building. The force ripped off a wall of the building, exposing several units. Several vehicles were also destroyed in the collapse. And now to Acapulco, where Tropical Storm Dahlia caused major flooding. Delilah also generated life-threatening surf and rip current conditions for many beaches along the country's Pacific coast. The National Guard is helping with search and rescue operations. Quite the conditions there, but then over here, we don't need a tropical storm to bring us a lot of rain, as we saw in Wilson, Nash, and Edgecombe counties today, Elizabeth.
We did really early this morning, when we were coming into work, we had a lot of rain across, the Triangle area, and then especially over here in this pocket where we ended up with, of course, some issues there with flooding. So the counties involved were, of course, Edgecombe County, as well as Nash County and Wilson County. And that's where we saw as much as 3 to almost 6 inches of rain. We're starting to see a few little cells trying to pop up right now. Notice most of the activity now popped up well to our east, but just starting to see one right over Durham. Let's see if there's another little tiny cell popping up. Yeah, there's another one right there just north of Fayetteville. And those have started to pop up just in the last 5 minutes. I sort of set that view and then walked over. I was like, oh, look at that. A couple little cells popping up. So we do have a flood watch. There's lots and lots of moisture in the air. Our dew point is well into the 70s, which just means there's a lot of moisture out there. So it feels very muggy, very sticky. And then when the rain starts, there's a lot of moisture in the atmosphere. So those rain, those storms coming through are going to have some heavy downpours along with them. The flood watch is in effect until 2 a.m. tomorrow morning. This morning, there were some road closures over there around Wilson and Edgecombe counties. We could see that again tonight. During the evening hours, that's when we'll really start to see the activity popping up. Right here at lunchtime, you can see see a couple just little spots of green. So things begin to pop up, but really start to develop along this stalled front as we get into 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And there's 6 p.m. Plenty of coverage. And then that just continues as that front is stalled there. This is 10 o'clock at night tonight. And then gradually as we aim towards, say, 2 a.m., it looks like everything settles down. But we're going to have hours to go where we have a good chance for rain. 50% chance today, 60 tonight. And then we're back to a 30% chance on Tuesday and Wednesday, but a 50% chance on Thursday. And Thursday, we already have the potential for some severe storms. And we're going to talk more about that coming up in just a little while. Here's a look at Apex. We're seeing some sunshine trying to peek through the clouds. It is really warm already, 85 degrees. We're headed to 90 and our dew point's at 73. So very heavy and moisture laden air mass out there. 70 still in Roxborough and South Hill, but elsewhere we're in the mid to upper 80s. So big changes, big differences across the viewing area where it's just hot. 85 in Apex and Cary, 85 in Morrisville, 80 in Garner and Knightdale right now. Around town, we're pretty easily going to make it into the low 90s across the area. And boy, that dew point is high, 75, 76 today, and in the mid 70s all the way through Thursday. So we do also have the potential for dangerous heat with the temperatures climbing into the 90s and such a high dew point. It could feel like 103 Wednesday and on Thursday. That puts us in the caution zone for dangerous heat. We'll be watching Wednesday and Thursday. Just for people who don't have proper cooling methods, this could be a major heat risk. So if you have neighbors who don't have air conditioning, you definitely want to check in on them. Thursday is Juneteenth. That's going to be one of the hottest days of the week at 95, but it also may have the best chance of bringing us some severe storms. We'll go over that in just a few minutes.
Back to square one. The redevelopment of the Durham Police Department's old headquarters has reached a snag. What issues they've had with the developer and what's next for the project at 4.
Then at 5, electric vehicle penalty taxes, what U.S. lawmakers are proposing to make up for lost gas tax revenue and how the proposal would hit seniors the hardest. Well, still ahead this noon, new safety alerts. Southwest Airlines is taking steps to help pilots avoid dangerous situations. How the airline hopes to keep passengers safe from takeoff to landing.
Go to bed. Ever doze off on the couch and then can't sleep when you finally head to bed? A sleep specialist explains why. More than 1 million power banks are being recalled due to a fire hazard. Anchor Innovations is recalling certain PowerCore 10,000 power banks because the lithium-ion battery inside the device can overheat. If that happens, it could melt plastic pieces and cause a fire. There have been 19 reports of fires and explosions involving these power banks. 2 people had minor burns. Go ahead and contact the company for a refund. Southwest Airlines announces added safety measures to its planes. The airline is installing a new cockpit alert system to help prevent dangerous situations during takeoffs and landings. The system will provide verbal and text warnings if a pilot is heading toward the wrong runway or having issues with the landing. Southwest says the new system is an added measure to avoid any bad outcomes in the future.
A hearing is scheduled tomorrow in bankruptcy court to officially approve a deal granting the former CEO and co-founder of 23andMe the genetic testing company. The nonprofit TTAM Research Institute will buy 23andMe for $305 million. 23andMe has genetic data from 15 million customers. Many worried their data could be sold to a third party when the company filed bankruptcy. TTAM said it will honor existing customer data rights policies. Lockdowns lifted. We'll head back out to Rollsville, where students, neighbors, and businesses were on edge after a shooting involving officers. WRAL's Destiny Patterson joins us with all new information she has learned in just the past 5 minutes. And here we have a look at your winning NC Education lottery numbers on your screen. We'll be right back.
Now, breaking news from WRAL. Coverage you can count on.
Breaking news in Rollsville. Lockdowns lifted for 2 Wake County schools following a large police presence. This all unfolding at Rogers Road and South Main Street. That's where we find WRAL's Destiny Patterson. And Destiny, you're live near the scene and you've been able to talk with a witness.
That's right, Renee. I mean, you can see it's still very active here behind me. Several agencies on the scene. I've seen Wake Forest, Rollsville, Wake County Sheriff's Office. And like you mentioned, we have run into some people who actually heard and saw some of this play out here this morning. This is Brian. Brian, tell me again what you saw, what you heard.
Well, I came out of the workout anytime and about 10:45, and the police were chasing somebody in a black vehicle, and I heard 6 shots fired. And they kept going back and forth all over, and eventually they had the AutoZone surrounded and the suspect on the ground.
And as somebody who lives in this area, knowing how busy Main Street is, what do you think when you look around, see all this crime scene tape, see all these police vehicles here?
Well, you know, people want to know what's going on. People are afraid for their children and their loved ones, and so I just wanted to help out by at least giving the information that everything was dealt with within a few minutes and everything was safe.
As you mentioned, as Brian mentioned, the good news here is everyone is safe. We have confirmed that with Rollsville Police. And again, you can see how busy this stretch of road here is in relation to all of the police vehicles and law enforcement vehicles that we see here on the scene. We also have video from Sky 5 of one of the police units actually having damage from one of those shots that were fired. We're, of course, continuing to follow this. We know that multiple schools were put on lockdown. Both of those have been lifted at this time, as well as the lockdown over at Town Hall. We're going to continue to follow this, and we'll bring you the latest as we get it. Destiny Patterson, WRAL News, live in Rollsville.
Destiny, thanks for that update. We are learning that the Minnesota man accused of shooting 2 lawmakers and their spouses Saturday had plans to travel to neighboring states to kill lawmakers there as well. That has state lawmakers everywhere, including here in North Carolina, rethinking their personal security. WRAL Capitol Bureau Chief Laura Leslie joins us live from the Legislative Building this noon. Laura.
You know, on this side of the security checkpoint, lawmakers at least have some sort of protection. But out here, for most of the vast majority of them, they are on their own. Those 2 state lawmakers targeted in the Minnesota attacks had no security detail. And that's very much the norm for lawmakers all around the country, including here in North Carolina. Only the leaders of each state chamber here have taxpayer-funded security details. The other 168 are on their own. Meredith College political scientist David McLennan said that might be something for legislators to consider. He said the current political culture is primed for violence, from the firebombing of Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro's home to the assassination attempt against President Donald Trump last week.
A decade or so ago, you know, it was about 10% of Americans said that violence was either expected or something that was legitimate means of expressing political beliefs. The last time I polled it, it was over 30%.
McLennan blames that on increasingly violent and dehumanizing political rhetoric. Here in North Carolina, House Speaker Dustin Hall is criticizing Democratic Representative Julie Von Hafen for posting a photo for the No Kings rallies on Saturday showing a guillotine sign with fake heads, saying he will consider some sort of punishment. Last year's Republican candidate for schools chief came under fire for past comments calling for the execution of President Barack Obama. And last year, the GOP nominee for governor said some folks need killing. Laura Leslie, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
A memorial is growing outside the state capitol building. Cards, flowers, and flags are being left in tribute to State House Representative Melissa Hortman and State Senator John Hoffman, who were both victims of gun violence in Minnesota. Hoffman and his wife survived. Hortman and her husband were killed in their home. WRAL's Ken Smith joins us now with local ties to the Hortman family. Ken.
You know, Renee, those local ties go way back to his school days here in Raleigh, including West Millbrook Middle School and Millbrook High School. Mark Hortman also graduated from UNC Chapel Hill and NC State. As for his school days, he's a member of the Millbrook High School class of 1984. Many of his former classmates are mourning his and his wife's death. We had a chance to talk with one of those former classmates, AJ Richards. She says Hortman's death is once again bringing old classmates together, just reflecting on their long-standing connection going back to their school days.
That was our kind of life. And so we were really close with our teachers, our principal, Mr. Langston, because he came from West Millbrook with us over our 9th grade year. And so we were together a long time, middle school and high school. had just friends with the teachers. Our parents knew them. It was very much community type school.
Richard says she and her fellow classmates from 1984 are looking for a way to come together and grieve their loss. We'll continue to follow any new developments in this story from Minnesota to right here at home.
Happening now in the WRAL Live Center, breaking news. A homicide suspect is now on the run in Warren County. Stop what you're doing and take a look at this photo here. This is who they're searching for. This is Terry Talley. Deputies say that they responded to an incident on Brown Circle in Norlina this morning. Shakita Hunt was found dead from a gunshot wound, and a second person was also shot. Again, all of this happening today. Terry Talley, he now faces several charges, including first-degree murder and attempted first-degree murder. He is considered armed and dangerous. If you know anything about his whereabouts, contact law enforcement.
President Trump is considering adding 36 new countries to a recent entry ban list. 27 of the 36 proposed new additions are in Africa or islands off its coastal waters. The State Department has expressed concerns that other countries are not adhering to U.S. screening and security thresholds. The government wants benchmarks met within 60 days, or those countries will face full or partial entry bans. The president has also ordered ICE to step up deportation efforts in large cities. In a social media post, President Trump directed ICE officers to use their power to increase the number of undocumented immigrants detained per day. Meanwhile, internal documents show that less than 10% of detained migrants have been convicted of serious crimes like murder or rape. And we give you this live look just after 12:30 here. This Lake Gaston view. Pretty cloudy out there, pretty humid as well. Temperatures are in the mid-80s in a lot of our viewing area. The dew points are in the mid-70s. Live look as you watch WRAL News, available on Spectrum and the WRAL app on your TV or streaming device.
Today is the first day for Triangle YMCA youth summer camps. The camps provide archery, swimming, arts and crafts, and there are summer camps serving Wake, Johnston, Durham, Lee, Chatham, and Orange counties. If your kids aren't already signed up at the YMCA, it's not too late. We have a summer camp guide with information about programs that still have spaces. If you can look for it on our homepage. The CDC is encouraging summer camps to examine shot records for measles vaccines for anyone who will be on the grounds. The CDC also says summer camps should stock up on face masks and create an isolation space for any campers who fall ill with the virus. The warning comes after a year of deadly measles outbreaks reaching near record levels. The U.S. is currently 100 cases shy of the record 1,274 set in 2019.
If you find yourself drifting off to sleep on the couch and then can't go back to sleep once you're in bed, you are not alone. Sleep experts say if you find yourself dozing off on the couch a lot, you should try another evening activity like reading. Some say sleep disorders may also be the reason you find yourself wide awake once you get into bed.
What happens then is you wake up and kind of get exposed to light. If you walk through the kitchen, which is still got lights on, that light is stimulating. And by the time we get into bed, we don't feel sleepy anymore.
And specialists say difficulty falling asleep can lead to chronic sleep deprivation, which increases the risk for many health problems like heart disease and type 2 diabetes.
Shattered artwork. Surveillance video shows the moment two tourists destroyed a priceless chair, why the structure crumbled so easily.
Plus, miraculous recovery just days after a shark nearly bit off her hand. A 9-year-old girl has regained control of all her fingers.
A priceless work of art is back on display after a couple broke it and fled without notifying anyone. Surveillance video from a museum in Verona, Italy shows a woman pretending to sit in the crystal-covered chair titled Van Gogh's Chair. Next, a man appears to slip and fall onto the chair, crushing it underneath him. The chair was built by Italian artist Nicola Bolla and is bejeweled with Swarovski crystals. And while it looks sturdy, the frame is mostly hollow and held together with foil.
Been very muggy recently, if you haven't noticed, but the worst could still be yet to come. Now, meteorologist Chris Michaels shows us when the muggiest air typically gets here and the two main concerns that poses.
Yeah, the air recently has just been very thick, and that's something that's common this time of year. When we talk about the humidity or the dew point being in the 70s, that's the air that's really tropical, something that we felt in recent weeks. Now, I went back and looked at the past 5 years, and we are just getting started. On average, the muggiest air we get is on August the 3rd, with the dew point in the upper 70s to near 80s. So there are two specific reasons why we care about that, two of which we're actually seeing play out this week. Number one, you get the heavy rain, which on average is totaled to about 2/3 of an inch on some of the muggiest days. And then you care about the heat index, what it feels like. In the past 5 years, our muggiest day has had a heat index of about 110 degrees. We're not talking about it being quite that high, but it will get into the triple digits several days this week. That's updated anytime on the free WRAL weather app and WRAL.com.
100%, Chris. Those of us who lived here a long time know that we are just getting started with the humidity. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner in the WRAL Severe Weather Center. And this week, it's going to feel like a sauna.
It is. And we know what else happens when we get all this humidity in place. There's a lot of moisture to work with for all the thunderstorms to pop up. And here we go. Big changes just in the last 30 minutes since we checked in last. Several little cells are starting to pop up, and those become bigger cells that are going to produce a lot of heavy rain today. So you can see here, right here in Wake County, across parts of Durham and Orange County, and then here in the northern part of Cumberland County through Sampson County. Also another tiny one just popped up a minute ago right there. Now this one, if we start to see more heavy rain across Wilson, Edgecombe, and Nash counties, this is where we saw as much as 3 to 5 inches of rain already. So that could be definitely problematic. We'll watch and see how much that happens. So just past Durham here in the northern part of Wake County, south of Falls Lake, moving over toward Rollsville and Wake Forest. These are itsy bitsy teeny tiny little cells, but it started about 15 minutes ago as one, and now you can see it's 3 of them. And so we will see more and more of them. We head down to the south, closer to Fayetteville, and you can see again, just north of Wade, look at this. 1 popped up, and then all of a sudden, look at that. Now we have 3 of those, 4 of those, and then headed over toward Newton Grove in the northern part of Sampson County. So we are looking at a better chance for seeing the potential for some stronger storms and flooding after 5. But I'll tell you what, this is all really starting to crank up right around now. So some flooding, some isolated power outages, of course, all across our viewing area. This is a look at the flood watch that's in effect now and carries us all the way into 2 a.m. tomorrow morning. Here's a look at Futurecast, and you can see at 3 o'clock these cells popping up across our area. So we're running a little bit ahead of what the models are showing. You can see at 6:15, plenty of coverage across our area. So there's definitely a good chance that at least some folks will see some heavy rain during the evening commute. At 9 o'clock, you can see it's scattered across our area. And again, that continues well up until midnight, and then up until maybe 2 o'clock in the morning, and then it starts to fizzle out. Now, a widespread range is going to be somewhere between 1 inch and 2 inches, but there will be pockets, just like there were last night, where we could see 3, 4, 5 inches of rain. So flooding is definitely our biggest threat. If we get some gusty winds, the ground's saturated, we could see a few trees fall, but we're not looking necessarily at severe level winds. Now, Thursday we are already, most of the viewing area is in that risk for severe storms for Thursday. Between now and then, we'll still have scattered showers and thunderstorms. So seeing some sunshine breaking out on all of these cameras, and that means we're adding extra energy into the atmosphere, all that sunshine really helping to heat things up. We changed the pattern a little bit toward the end of the week. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, high pressure builds in, fewer storms, but high heat is increasingly likely as we head toward the end of the week. Look at this, Wednesday and Thursday in particular, we have a major risk for heat-related injuries. Today, of course, weather alert day. We get into some really hot temperatures Thursday at 95. Friday is officially the first day of summer, and then we hit 94 Saturday and 95 on Sunday. So, yeah, here it is.
Summertime, summertime. Elizabeth, thank you. Nationwide sting operation. Mail carriers are actually trying to prevent them. Their weapon of choice after this break. As we wrap things up, here's a look at a few of the headlines we're following today. Laura Levine is in the WRAL Live Center with a new video of the incident that prompted 2 school lockdowns. Laura.
Yeah, happening here in the WRAL Live Center within the past 10 minutes, we have received dash cam video from someone who shows a closer look at what exactly happened here in Roseville. Take a look at this video. You can see as we zoom in here on someone in a black BMW began to pull out a gun and fire shots as that police cruiser is passing by. Of course, all of this prompting a lockdown at local schools as well as several businesses. This is a story that we will continue to stay on top of on WRAL News this evening.
A man wanted for murder is now in custody. The Granville County Sheriff's Office arrested Michael Wright this morning. We're told he turned himself in. Wright is accused of killing 63-year-old Teresa Davis and her 26-year-old son, Joseph Jeffries Jr. He's facing 2 murder charges. It happened last night just before 7 on Maple Street near South William Street. Wright is being held without bond at the Granville County Detention Center.
Today, Wake County commissioners are expected to finalize an agreement between RDU and the county. They will address how to develop more than 130 acres of the recently closed Lake Crabtree Park. WRAL has reported on the plans to develop that land from the park into what the airport calls an innovative entertainment destination. Hikers and bikers criticized the decision to close part of the park a few weeks ago.
A 9-year-old girl is recovering in the hospital after nearly losing her hand in a shark attack on Florida's Gulf Coast. This happened as the girl was snorkeling near her family. Body camera video shows the moment first responders arrived on that scene. The video also shows the 3 men who jumped in the water to help. They pulled the family onto the beach after the attack and gave first aid while waiting for EMS.
You guys put the towel on and stuff?
Yes, we put the towel on.
Okay, very good. Good job.
Thank you, sir.
Good job. Good job. Well, good job, guys. I think you made a real difference. I think that would have been a lot worse if you weren't here.
That's nice to hear. Surgeons were able to repair her hand using pins and artery grafts from her leg, and she is now able to move all her fingers. A GoFundMe account has been set up to help cover her medical expenses. It's raised more than $35,000.
If you open your mailbox to a wonderful aromatic smell, thank your postal worker. For them, it's not about the smell, but it's about the swell. Mail carriers are leaving scented dryer sheets in customers' mailboxes to prevent wasps and yellow jackets from nesting in mailboxes and stinging them when they open the box. Workers are even asking homeowners to leave dryer sheets inside the mailboxes to help them out. An easy thing to do and keep them safe.
Didn't know that was a thing, but
yeah.
I'll do it. Time now for a pet of the day from ARF. Sarge has an unbeatable care for you personality. He shepherds your well-being and takes his job seriously. Sarge is very kind, though, and if you're looking for a close friend and partner, Sarge won't let you down. If you are his lifelong friend, call ARF Rehab, 919-894-1111.
Back to square one. The redevelopment of the Durham Police Department's old headquarters has hit a snag. Today on WRAL News at 4, what issues they've had with the developer and what is next for the project.
Some of those lofty clouds behind us from the WRAL Garner
so
Tower
beautiful.
cam right there. Yeah, it's very pretty. Later is when there could be some trouble spots popping up, though, around our area.
Yeah, it looks nice, but it feels so muggy out there, and it's just going to get worse this week. Some of the hottest weather coming our way. Well, NBC News Daily is next on WRAL. Your next local news update in 30 minutes.
You can also get breaking news updates anytime with our WRAL News app. Have a great day.
Stay safe with the latest WRAL Weather Alert Day info. Get up to the minute weather and traffic conditions when you get in your car. In Raleigh on 99.3 FM, in Durham 96.5 FM, and everywhere on 101.5 HD3.